world's most advanced communications technology. A shocking discovery has been made.
What was that?
Lock your remote. Give me a thermal reading result to 6-6.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast That Wouldn't Die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Ciao!
This week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we're going to discuss the immortal classic, Congo, starring Laura Linney. You got Tim Curry, Ernie Hudson, Amy the Monkey. Good. She talks and does sign language. She's very clever.
I already forgot what we were recording. I in my mind, we were still recording It's Alive, and I found this tiny baby that I was going to throw about because it might be alive too.
Well, that's good. Good to know. Sweet Jesus. Every week on the podcast That Wouldn't Die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics with a comedic twist, one hope.
I just want to know, is it a forgotten classic if everybody is intentionally forgetting it?
If they're hitting themselves with a hammer in order to forget, induce amnesia. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's right. They're trying to clear the bad thoughts away.
I can't
and
say
and by bad thoughts, the memories of the terrible movies.
So what's going on with you, Aaron? What's the latest?
Oh my God. You know what? I've been sucked into so many bad, what we're calling documentaries, which are not really documentaries. They're a bunch of bullshit. I just watched this one on Plato's Closet, which was a swingers club in New York and also a used children's clothing store here.
That sounds like a bad combination, by the way.
You know it's not a documentary when they're only talking about the good old times at the swingers club. Nothing bad ever happened there. It was just that pesky AIDS that shut them all down. So pesky.
A lot of swinging. There's a swinging good time down at Plato's Closet. Sweet.
I mean, the very nature of the situation has to tell me that somebody had a bad time there. It was bebopping in downtown New York for 6-7 years. Somebody had a bad time, but no, it's family time, and once a month we open it all up for the kids.
I don't even want to know what that means. They open it all up for the kids. What is
like they have water slides? I don't know. Did they take the wet mattresses out of the back? I don't know. But in the end,
yep,
it wasn't that interesting.
Well, where did you even find this documentary?
Because I just sit there on HBO or Showtime and I click documentaries, and they're like, a documentary for you, American Swingers. I was like, tell me more. And then it's all like, bruh. It's like a lot of people, because it's New York, so there's a lot of people in their 80s wearing dark sunglasses, like they're witness protection, wearing polyester pantsuits, telling about the good old days, but they're talking like this. Yeah, they used to have hot dogs. No, they never had hot dogs. It was a great buffet. It was all right. Like weird couples.
Is this a euphemism for their hot dogs? Anyway.
No! They're trying to explain for $25 you got into the club and there was a nice buffet.
Who's going to a swingers club for the buffet is what I want to know. Or is that
That's what I want to know. The best part was they had crazy Al Goldstein, who is the publisher of Screw magazine, who every couple of minutes would pop in and give his 2 bits. Larry was so boring. Screwing was his whole life. So you couldn't even have a conversation about anything because it all came back. He's like, what's sex? It's friction. Come on. You can't just talk about that all the time, says the publisher of Screw magazine.
Even he knows.
Even he knows. He's like, what? It's just friction. What else is there to talk about? That may have been the highlight. Mostly I cruise around the outer worlds of documentaries looking for cults I haven't heard of. so I can watch a nice new documentary about a new cult.
See, the way this works, ladies and gentlemen, is I just ask a question. I just, making conversation. I never know what kind of dark passages the conversation will take us. So I apologize.
It was HBO, you figure it's the mark of quality. But I also finally finished watching Killing County about,
Mako.
how our police and sheriff kill more people in a year than New York City, which is thrice the population.
Isn't it more than thrice the population? New York City versus Bakersfield?
It's not just, it's Kern County. So Kern County is probably 800,000.
Well, don't like 10 million people live in New York City?
I'm just telling you, everybody knows. Everybody
knows.
You don't mess with Kern County. They had one of the guys from McFarland who ended up being like one of the dirtiest cops we've ever had. So the movie came out just as he's getting arrested. The star of McFarland, one of the kids. And so he's narrating. And he's like, I came to Bakersfield because I know this was the place where you're going to be able to get your hands dirty and mix it up.
Oh my God! He's the narrator of the.
They kept shooting back to him because in the end, it's not him. It's one of his old partners who was at several of these shootings. Like there's a couple of cops or sheriffs that are the shooters in most of our most controversial police shootings, and almost never. And the sheriff controls the coroner. So the sheriff just kind of tells the coroner what the findings are going to be.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like City Confidential, but with 3 chapters.
Why don't you tell us your 30-second synopsis of Congo? Let's get this train back on the tracks here. Good Lord.
Train back on the tracks. I will tell you, Congo is as deadly as Bakersfield. Let me just... Thank you, Donnie Youngblood, our sheriff, who never will be unelected. He can do no wrong, according to the white population. I just want to tell you, is this Dylan Walsh drives me crazy. I wanted Amy to lose her shit, have some like crazy hormonal imbalance, and then eat his lips because he is literally the worst.
Gorillas
Can we agree on that?
Lips, by the way. Let me just
maybe they just don't know it's a tasty snack. I'm sorry. Only lip and finger.
Yes.
They're all apes. I just ate chicken feet in San Francisco. So maybe they just haven't been turned on to it yet.
Who's to say?
All I can tell you, it is literally one of the most ridiculous things. So 30 seconds.
Please.
Rich people got to get to the Congo to release a gorilla. I'm having a mini stroke. A gorilla that they have bothered to teach to speak sign language and rig stuff up. So of course, let's just let it go and screw all of our research because we know that's how governments and scientists work. So they have to go to Zaire, smuggle the creature while people are trying to murder them, while simultaneously trying to find a Bond villain's crystals for a laser beam, and crazy the clown is also looking for lost treasure. All these points converge. Guess what? It's just about the monkey. Amy, hungry. Amy, ugly gorilla. Amy says, you. Amy's gonna eat your lips. The end.
Amy says, tickle Amy. Tickle Amy.
Bad touch. Amy says, bad touch. She's going off of that silverback. It was going to be bad touch. Amy's going to be looking for Dylan because she's had enough of this biz. She's trying to do sign language with monkeys that are like, shut the hell up. I'm going to hit you with a rock. And then Dylan's going to be long gone, feeling real good about himself.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Had you ever seen this before?
Of course not. Of course not. No one should have ever seen this.
Had you ever heard of this movie before?
Aaron, angry. Never. I at least had heard of Anaconda. Yo, Anaconda don't want.
Okay, to be clear, you've never even heard of this movie, Congo. This is based on a
Let's
Michael
just
Crichton novel.
Right. He wrote a bunch of shit. So let's be clear that I have heard of the Congo.
I'm not disputing whether you've heard of the geographical region. Oh, Jesus,
But
yes.
as far as sign language monkeys, this is not Coco. This is no documentary.
This is a documentary.
No. This is and then it just, when they get back, they just head over to Plato's Closet.
Oh, sweet. Okay, we're going to steer clear of Plato's Closet. Yes, okay. I saw this movie in the theater, if you can believe that.
What is that? Do you not have friends that you just have to show up? Or did you buy one of those year-long passes? You're like, I don't know what the movie's about, but I already paid for it, so I'm just going. Is that what's happening?
This was mid-90s, early to mid-90s. This came out the same year as another Michael Crichton novel turned movie, Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park came out, and they're like, we got to get another one of these books out. And that was Congo.
I think at this point, all these people are just using AI. A sign language monkey and an evil scientist. Go AI.
The script was written by the same guy who wrote the script for Moonstruck.
Okay. I don't even know what to say. I hopefully it was before Moonstruck, because if it was after Moonstruck, there's some issues. There's a hidden secret, a dark path. There's a dark path. There's drugs. There's alcohol. There's S&M, BD. I don't know.
All sorts of stuff is going down.
All kinds of stuff is in the mix, because you don't go from Moonstruck to Congo. So hopefully you went from Congo to Moonstruck with something in the middle, because clearly this is white privilege if the last thing you wrote was Congo and then they hand you Moonstruck.
No, he did Moonstruck before this. About 4 years before. Actually, more than 4 years before this.
Okay.
5 or 6
I cannot even explain then. Then it goes with my original plan. Was it Robert Downey Jr. that, in fact, wrote this during one of his fevered, drug-fueled long weekends?
Could be. I'm not taking it off the table. I mean, who's to say?
Because Moonstruck was nothing but personality and snappy conversation.
Well, okay, so Michael Crichton wrote the book, and it was meant to be kind of it's an
comedy
adventure story. It's an adventure story in the vein of kind of King Solomon's Mines.
Right.
That's what they were going
You can see that. They're like, well, in my mind, it's going to be Raiders of the Lost Ark, but let's shoot more towards King Solomon Mine. And then they decided to let it slip one level or two below that.
Well, okay, so he pitched, because in the...
If your romantic hero is a crazy Dylan, whatever the hell his last name is.
I hate Dylan Walsh so much, by the way, as Dr. Peter Elliott, the primatologist.
Because he's the stupidest primatologist who seems to know nothing of primates.
Okay, let's be clear.
Amy says, you're dumb. I think it's the same thing. What we have here with Dylan Walsh, which is a name that stepped right out of the 90s. Was he in Party of Five? Was it Party of Six? Dylan Walsh. All right. His name is Dylan Walsh.
The actor is named.
The actor is named Dylan Walsh. He is for sure a Costner.
Oh, okay. So explain this to our audience at home. What is a Costner in your definition?
A Costner is someone who is just themselves for no matter what role it is. Hey, Dylan Walsh, can you play Idi Amin? Absolutely. And it's just Dylan Walsh. Hey, Dylan Walsh, can you be Putin on an upcoming HBO event? Biden meets Putin? Absolutely. And it's just Dylan Walsh talking to someone playing Joe Biden.
have you seen him in anything else that you've drawn?
I for sure has, and he's always just so weak that he needs to be bullied.
Okay. We'll get into the cast a little bit later. Sweet Lord. Let's go right to the
I have
highlights.
a rage that comes out when I see him. I mean, it's not as bad as my Kirk rage, but it's kind of getting
Kirk
there.
Rage. Interesting. Let's hit the highlights. What you got first?
The highlights. Aaron hate movie.
Stop doing your fake sign language. It's offensive. God.
Just like this movie. Yeah. Just like this movie.
Real sign language. Thank you.
It's literally, it's like they took all these pieces of jungle movies. Like the first group of people that are there discover like a magical thermal pool. Who's the first one to jump in? There's people who do that in like Yellowstone, Yosemite, and they don't even find the bones because it just gets boiled up. So they dive in and like go through a crack. I mean, literally, you can see the tunnel above the water surface. Yes, and suddenly on the other side is another jungle, which apparently is more of a paradise.
And Bruce Campbell. Bruce
Campbell. And it's Bruce Campbell.
It's in 3 minutes of this movie.
Bruce Campbell, the primatologist. Why would you waste Bruce Campbell for 5 minutes and have Dylan Walsh for 3 hours?
He auditioned for it, and they gave him this role instead.
What the hell? Hopefully it was the same knucklehead who wrote this. I'm like, okay, I'm getting full of rage, but it kind of looked like when they went through the jungle number 2 that lived inside jungle number 1. It looked like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's where they keep the angry gorillas, because Lord knows gorillas, they want to come up and give you a back rub when you startle them, especially they're like, oh, we found a world where there are gorillas who kill people.
Wow. This is true. Let me write this down. Well, okay, there's a telecommunications company that somehow has found their way to this region, this hidden region of the Congo, because there's a certain type of diamond that they need for their satellites or something.
Are there types of diamonds? Either it's a diamond or it's not. It's either a ruby or it's not, or it's something else. There's types of diamonds.
I don't study gems per se, but evidently that's what their interest in this place is that there's special diamonds that can be found there for their telecommunications satellite, I guess.
Right, but reality is it's really just a laser that slices through monkeys like a hot knife in butter.
I got a lot to say about that.
Wasn't this about? Didn't they do the same thing in like one of the Superman? But it was a piece of kryptonite in the laser or some shit like that.
Yes, I think so. Oh, sweet shit. So okay. So they're trying to get the diamonds. This expedition is attacked off camera. Bruce Campbell is dead 5 minutes later. Spoiler alert. We don't know, except there was like a flash of like gray on the camera, essentially. So because their satellite's going to be obsolete, they got to get a new team out there, lickety split. So he sends Laura Linney, who used to work for the CIA, to join a current expedition to the Congo for an entirely different reason. So then you've got the primatologists who have taught this gorilla to use sign language, and they've hooked her up to like a backpack. So when she does her sign language, a crazy voice, goes, tickle, Amy, ugly gorilla.
Ugly gorilla. Nice, what was it? Pretty gorilla, the ugly gorilla. Right. It's ugly lady.
Lady.
It was so creepy that at any moment, Amy was about to present to Dylan Walsh.
Oh, no question. Amy is a goddamn gorilla and is allowed to just roam free. You never see Amy in a cage or anything. No. She's just wandering around. She's on the plane wandering around. They give her a martini to calm her down. You can't do
A
that.
cigar. It's
Yes.
literally like something off the Ed Sullivan Show.
It is.
And then, as any good primatologist, thank you, Dylan Walsh, has decided that what you need to do is totally bond the gorilla to humans. And
Right.
then it's perfectly great to just drop it off in the forest because that's just how you do things.
Yes, that gorilla's dead meat.
That gorilla has been lured off, and the other gorillas are having, Amy, ouch! Hey, what? Ugly gorilla! Amy, ouch!
This is no sign language acknowledged by anybody on Earth. Very upsetting. So Amy draws pictures with paints, and she keeps drawing these pictures of, like, there's the forest, but then there's these yellow eyes that she keeps drawing. And so the primatologists want to release her because they realize after a few years, these gorillas can never fully assimilate, and then they have to be destroyed and all this stuff. So they're like, okay.
Yeah, like this one that's totally bonded to you as your lover, and is, in fact, any female, she starts throwing stuff and getting aggressive with. It's one
Evidently,
step
this is
away
a thing.
from lip eating, of course.
It's a thing. If you're like a gorilla trainer or whatever, and you spend too much time with them, as I'm sure you must, the gorillas start having some feelings for you. They want some gorilla love.
Quite frankly, I've had friends with parrots. It's the same thing. They eventually bond with you since there's no one else to bond with.
Parrots. And then they have to do some weird parrot love. What are you telling me?
I think that's probably optional, but I bet if you go on the dark web, you can find something.
It's always the dark web.
I'm sure TikTok has something if you'd like to start putting those search parameters in.
I'd rather not. So they're trying to take Amy, but they're like, but we don't have any money. We're just poor scientists. Then Tim Curry arrives on the scene because he's seen the pictures that Amy has painted about the eyeball, and he's a treasure hunter who's trying to.
And why does he have to be Romanian with the most bizarro name? He couldn't be a British treasure hunter?
No, cannot. He's got to be Romanian. Homolka is his name.
Oh, Mr. Homolka. Oh,
That's
my
correct.
God. Lord Humongous.
Absolutely. So he wants to use, ostensibly he's like, I am a very big follower of Amy. But really he's about, I'm going to use Amy because this eye is a recurring motif in the lost city of Zinj, which is, the fabled, King Solomon's mines, essentially. Diamond mines,
Right.
Mythological, blah, blah, blah. So you have these three different groups, disparate groups, who are coming together to travel to the Congo to take Amy home, ostensibly, but really it's about finding the diamonds. Is what the
people are killed. People are being butchered and dying to get crazy Amy to the jungle.
That is correct. Well, because it is the Congo, which, believe it or not the most stable of places in the world. So it's just nonstop. They arrive and it's just explosions going off. There's people shooting rocket launchers. There's machine gun fire, as happens in the Congo, just naturally.
So then why are they in Zaire instead of the Democratic Republic of Congo?
Because Zaire is the Democratic Republic of Congo.
What is it now?
It's called Zaire, I believe.
Is it Zaire now?
It used to be called the Belgian Congo.
Well,
and then
I know it's not. I know it's just not Heart of Darkness at this point.
It is Heart of Darkness. Joseph Conrad. Yeah, when
I love that bit.
When they got rid of the Belgians, then it became Zaire. But I believe the river's still called the Congo River. I don't know about any of this stuff. I'm just
searching the internet now.
Check it out.
Probably help if I knew how to spell anything.
Congo? I could spell that one for you.
Oh, I typed in Zaire, but now it switched to whatever Zaire language, Zairian.
Zairian? Interesting. Sweet Jesus. So they're flying.
Keep talking. Carry me. Carry me.
Tickle me. Tickle Amy. Tickle Amy.
I'm sorry. Democratic Republic of Congo is a thing. Oh, poor, and they speak French.
Okay. Isn't it the same thing as Zaire then?
How do you spell Zaire?
Zaire.
That is, Zaire is officially the Republic of Zaire, which was a Congolese state from 71 to 97.
Okay. This movie was filmed during that framework there, so that's why they called it Zaire.
All right.
Okay. This is
you could always date a globe by looking at the countries of Africa.
That's true.
Because they were constantly changing. I believe I bought a globe and we had to call my dad. I'm like, here's a name of a country I have never heard before. When do you think that was called that? And my dad would be like, I think from 1974 until 1978, so-and-so country was called that. Previous to that, it was this. Moving forward, it is this. Tomorrow, it may be that.
That's how they do.
That's how they do. Now, can I talk about my the most amusing thing that happened?
Yes, you may.
Laura Lindley was asking a question about what's important, and her comment was, "I believe the children are our future. Treat them well and let them leave." I wrote it down at the beginning when they first get to the jungle.
I believe the children are our future. There's
direct quote.
She said that.
Direct quote.
In reference to what?
She was being sassy when someone was questioning her about who she is and what she's doing.
I think you're high. There's no way she says, I believe the children are our future in this movie. She may have said,
Kevin, how much are you going to give me? That's just what I want to know. When I rub this in your face and you have to bow in shame because you're like, I doubted Aaron again. Why am I a fool to keep doing these things?
What do you want? What do you want? Let's put it on the table. I believe that I
don't have any girl children. So if you'd like to give me one of your daughters I could raise
Okay.
I only have boys.
Win, I give you one of my daughters. If I win, I give you one of my daughters. Sweet Jesus.
All right.
I believe the children are our future. Oh, God, help us all.
You're going to look it up? And then you're going to
look it up later, so it's not people watching us look up things all episode long.
Riveting.
Yeah, riveting TV. When they get to Africa, there's a Joey Pantoliano cameo as Eddie Petro. He shows up for 5 minutes in this movie.
And it never bothers me when he is the same character in every goddamn thing he does, because he's so delightful.
Absolutely.
He's delightful.
If you're entertaining, then you're good. You can be whatever character you want to be. No question. And they also meet Ernie Hudson playing his name is Monroe Kelly. It is their guy.
He has a great accent in this too. It seems really natural.
He is arguably my favorite part of the movie. He is
I
so
agree.
excellent in this movie. I mean, going into this movie, he was just the other Ghostbuster prior to this movie. But you watch him in Congo, and you can argue whether or not Congo is a good movie or not. He is truly entertaining. No question. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
Still searching, are you?
Son of a bitch. All right, I'll put it away. I will find it, and I will be vindicated. I took the trouble to write it down. It's in the beginning because it's literally Secret World. And then when we see her again and she's trying to cover up who she is.
Right.
That's when she says it.
because she can't. So she's trying to get on with the expedition. Remember, the expedition is ostensibly to take Amy back to the jungle.
She
so
just
she can
needs a
live.
ride. She has $10 million, but can't
Right.
figure out how to get to the Congo.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Because they literally say, "Hey, join an expedition already going." Why? If we're going to take over the expedition and they're going to show up, there's going to be 10,000 tons of materials and equipment and all that stuff is going to be waiting for us.
There was already a team there, so they must have gotten permission at some point to already be there.
That's correct. So
instead it was like, how much do you need? 50,000, 100,000, 1,000,000,
Right.
whatever.
Right. The first team in the beginning of the movie, literally, you see them driving in. They're driving in, they get out, they walk the last few minutes, and then they're there.
Yeah.
No muss, no fuss. But for some reason, every other expedition, there's literally the plane's literally being shot out of the air by rockets. They're shooting heat-seeking missiles to destroy the planes, just because that's what they do in the Congo.
To be fair, in this crazy, strangely racist
movie,
white movie,
yes.
White people good, people in Africa bad situation.
I don't think they're saying all that, but go ahead.
I think they're saying something.
Could
all
be.
I can say is it is true that everything went sideways because they did try to kill the president. So that's why everybody's angry and crotchety and racist.
And racist. Absolutely. Absolutely. They get like captured at one point and taken before Delroy Lindo.
He's the best.
Who is dynamite. There are individual performances in this movie that are so great that if you could just scoop those parts out.
I know. He was fantastic in that. There are a couple of people that you're like, they knew they were making a shit film, and they said, I can either just coast on this, or I'm just going to do my best. And God bless them.
And I
Dylan Walsh, maybe you should take an acting lesson from a couple of these.
Damn, Dylan, if you're watching, no offense.
I'm sure he's a lovely man, kind to his mother. He rarely kicks dogs.
Rarely. I mean, he's not taking it off the table completely.
He's probably not intentionally pinching babies till they cry. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, okay, so Joe Pantoliano as Eddie and Delroy Lindo as like I don't even know what his character's name. He's like
whatever,
the general or whatever.
The Generalissimo who's now like running the country in the chaos.
Both of them are uncredited in this movie. They just thought,
what?
Isn't that funny? They're
like, let's just take my name off just to be on the safe side.
He yells at Tim Curry, "Stop eating my sesame cake!" If you haven't seen this movie, you don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Don't eat the Generalissimo's cake. But I guess he wouldn't be a Generalissimo because they would speak French. So whatever the French version of that.
No question. So, but she is bribing him. It's like you said, here's 20 grand, here's 50 grand. She had it like in her bag. Why didn't they just take it from her? She was already arrested.
Exactly. Why did I just say, why don't you just hand me the bag? I'll let you have the sesame cake.
Exactly. There's no question. You watch this movie and you think it's a monster movie about killer gorillas. The genie gorillas don't show up until the last 20 minutes of the movie.
There's a lot of, quite frankly, it's a boring movie with a couple of spikes. It's like you're dying on the table, and every now and then they're jostling you, so the heart rate just kind of goes beep, and then it goes flatline again. Beep.
That. First of all, how dare you? There's a scene that I love. They're on the second plane where they're flying over the Congo, and people are shooting rockets at them. And they're like, "Oh, damn, I guess we're going to jump out of the plane." none of these people, Dylan Walsh and his buddy, are primatologists who have not had 1 ounce of parachute training.
It was all ridiculous.
That's
No idea what I'm supposed to do. Quite frankly, as they're parachuting out, all their equipment is going miles away from anywhere that they are landing. They've basically covered Zaire with bodies and equipment while people are firing at them. And how about the part where they just open the door mid-flight? Isn't that damn thing under pressure? And just starts standing in the doorway taking shots at missiles.
Yes, that's correct. Well, I mean, again, they're parachuting into the trees down below. They would be dead.
They would all be dead.
Trees.
They're going to be like DB Cooper is just hanging dead from his parachute. They'll find him eventually.
No strings attached. I mean, it's a sad situation. And not to mention, Ernie Hudson is like, don't worry, I will just hold Amy as we parachute. That's
because the part when the parachute opens up and yanks you into space, you're just going to hang on to a gorilla.
A damn gorilla. It's a 300-pound gorilla. You're holding on to this damn thing. It's a freak show.
A 300-pound drugged and drunk gorilla who has been feeling amorous, and yet you're a total stranger. So if she were to come to and see they're falling from the sky.
Yes.
Whatever.
Tickle Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the scene. That was the scene, no question. They're about to get on the river. Because again, the original people could just take cars, but they have to parachute and they have to take the boats, the inflatable rafts, and he's doing something with
Now, where were they going to land in these planes? Was it always the plan that they were going to have to parachute out? And then where were the pilots? Where did they go?
They said
they already left.
Parachuted out already as well.
To where?
Into a crocodile's mouth. I have no idea what. It's faces of death. Who's to say?
Faces of death. Very nice. It's Cannibal Holocaust.
It is absolutely Cannibal Holocaust. There's a bizarro scene where Dylan Walsh is talking to Amy, trying to calm her down, and starts singing California Dreaming. All the leaves are brown. And then all of the porters that they've hired immediately kick in and all start singing California Dreaming, like harmonizing with each other. It was like, what is happening with this movie? I'm going off the rails here. Sweet Jesus.
I mean, one may assume that the Beach Boys are beloved worldwide. I
would assume that, but are the Mamas and the Papas also beloved worldwide?
Oh, shit. I want to jump in here for a second because I watched this on Pluto, which for every 5 minutes of movie is followed by 7 minutes of the exact same ad. I think this movie was 6 hours. Yes. I think that's part of the problem is literally 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 7. It was all freaking Picard. And all I could, which I've never seen, all I could figure out is if Data is an android, how he's so old and fat.
Oh, no. You're taking
100%. And I love Data, but I haven't, as I said, I hadn't seen this movie, but maybe something has happened. But quite frankly, they all look so much more horrible than they actually do in real life. So, as I said, every ad was this.
Well, that's the way the filmmakers intended you to watch it. In that fashion, yeah.
Just constantly interrupted and irritated. So by the end, I'm like, get them, monkeys.
Get them, monkeys. Absolutely. There's a hilarious moment when Dylan Walsh comes out of his tent going, I have something on my junk. Some sort of growth or creature or something like. Well, you have a leech on your on your penis.
He's like, pull it off. And they're like, no.
He says, pull it off for me. It's like, buy me a drink first, old boy. Pull it off. So he gives him his cigar.
It's Plato's closet in the jungle.
It is clearly Plato's closet. Ernie Hudson hands him his cigar, and he burns it off, I guess, with the cigar, and then he hands the cigar back.
It's not a tick. Can't you just pull it off? I don't know. It's not burrowing, is it?
Who's to say?
We don't. We're in California. I think we're leech free over here. This is not this kind of a freak show.
It's not clear.
The best part is they're camping with their little pop-up tents in the jungle, and they're screaming and weird sounds in the night, and the primatologist walks out and says, "What's all that racket? What are those sounds?" They're like, "They're monkeys, primatologist."
That's correct. Monroe Kelly goes, "The colobus monkeys. When it's a full moon, every colobus monkey thinks they're Elvis Presley, if you know."
I'm sorry, was Sean Connery in this movie?
That's correct. Those must be the colobus monkeys. Anyway. Yes. Okay. Finally, they make their way to the Lost City. After fending off hippopotamus, there was a very moving scene.
I thought in Disneyland had really taken a dark turn with the Jungle Cruise. I don't remember the rabid hippopotamuses that are with a lust for blood.
They hunger for human flesh. Yes, we can all agree on that. They finally get to the place. And they find the mines, and there are literally just diamonds just on the floor. Like, on the floor. Like, is that how they just grow on the ground? You don't have to mine them?
And I don't know what kind of diamonds. I mean, I know the diamonds in their raw state are crickly crackly, and that's why, like, to find clear ones is really expensive. But these were extra jacked up. These were not going in the Hope Diamond. So I'm not sure how this is I assume light's gonna refract in 1,000 directions. So I'm not sure how they're using this as a laser beam, but I'm not a Scientologist, so
it's always a Scientologist with you. Sweet Jesus. Yes. Yes. And what we discover is that they're crazy mutant gorillas who were trained thousands of years ago by the original owners of the mine to protect the mine. And eventually the gorillas learned, because gorillas, as we are told repeatedly, are gentle creatures in reality. But these particular mangy creatures were bred for violence, and eventually they turned on their owners. So now they just kill.
We don't even know that. That's just what they assume since the owners are not there. And then the other thing, why do these buildings look like they're in Southeast Asia when we are in fact in the Congo? And why? I mean, humans have been breeding other creatures to make them teeny tiny, to make them giant, to make them spotted. So they bred them as their watchdogs, right? But they also had to breed them so they were ugly and jacked up, like they all had the mange. That was also a choice they made.
Part of the yes, they have to look jacked. They can't just look like normal gorillas. They have to look like mutant.
You know what would have been really good is instead of these jacked up monkeys with mange, what if it was the Planet of the Apes monkeys that stepped out with their vests going, "What do you want, mother?"
Cornelius is your suggestion.
Not Cornelius. We need the General Zod and stuff like that.
Okay, General
Crockethead.
Zod. General Zod was not for Planet of the Apes. How dare you? This is very upsetting.
You know what I'm saying? The military monkeys with their vests coming in on horseback.
You gotta wear their vests. No question.
You gotta wear the vests. I think you can get that same vest at Costco right now.
Absolutely. They're fashionable. No
Now,
question.
wouldn't that have been a surprise?
You're telling me. That would have been a surprise.
That would have been better, I think.
So there's a whole nother. So there's the gorillas are attacking everybody. There was a whole nother thing where it was like the volcano could erupt at any moment, basically, and of course, it chooses this moment to erupt, sending lava everywhere. So thankfully, we're treated to an extended scene of of mangy gorillas literally just doing cannonballs into the lava for no reason.
What was that about? I wrote that down. That they're literally jumping into the lava pit. Like they don't sense heat or fear or whatever. I mean, I know they live in the jungle, but I assume this heat is a little hotter. What the hell?
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Honestly, before this, they would have to they were shooting the gorillas with guns. It would take like 9 shots.
They're gorillas. They're not bulletproof, although
That's what I'm saying. They'd have to shoot them over and over. I mean, they've been boogieing out there for like a millennia.
Yeah. That's correct.
Would you think they would start? I mean, they bred them this way. Wouldn't they eventually kind of de-evolve back into their other state? Again, I'm not a Scientologist.
Are you a primatologist?
I am not a Scientologist nor a primatologist, nor is Dylan Walsh, apparently.
Later, prior to this scene, Laura Linney takes one of the special diamonds and she finds Bruce Campbell's corpse. It wasn't even really his body. It was like a fake mannequin. Couldn't you just have Bruce Campbell just come back one day, lay on the bones? No, we have to have
and then he turns and winks. He like kind of rolls over.
Maybe that's why they did it, because they were tired of his mugging into the camera. Ooh la la.
Who could get tired of Bruce Campbell? He's an American treasure.
He's an American treasure, no question. She takes one of the lasers, puts it into some kind of it makes no sense. They have lasers. There are lasers, and that's how we communicate. The telecommunications company needs the diamonds for their lasers. Whatever. It makes no sense.
I don't know. Don't lasers need some kind of a power source? Or, again, not a Scientologist.
Not a Scientologist. She turns the lasers, because they're about to be killed by the mangy gorillas.
What do you got, like some D-cell batteries in there to run that?
So she turns the laser onto the gorillas and says, and I quote, "I believe the children are our future," if I remember
Shut
correctly.
your mouth. They say, put them on the endangered species list.
That's right.
So stupid.
And then they escape. The whole valley's engulfed in lava. All the crazy apes are burnt to a crisp. They get on
all the apes. Grape ape is dead. Cornelius dead. Magella gorilla dead. Coco dead.
Yeah, Coco is there as well. Yes, very very upsetting. They leave
Amy, ugly gorilla.
They leave Amy. No, okay, we gotta talk about that. So they're about to be attacked by the mangy gorillas, and there's like 50, 100 of these damn things. Here comes little old Amy, who, again, not as big as the other ugly gorillas, and only one of her. And she comes out there, "Go away, ugly gorillas, go away!" And the other gorillas like, "Oh, whoa, hang on, we give up." There's one. It's one Amy versus 100 of the mangy gorillas, but okay, enough. Good time.
And even though they could have gotten away, they decided to kill all of them.
That's correct.
because Pitbull Amy apparently frightens mange monsters.
That is correct. They leave Amy behind, and she finds a nice silverback to settle down with. They get in a balloon, hot air balloon, to escape.
Literally, the Zaire army is shooting down airplanes.
Yes.
But
they were shot down soon. Yes, they're dead. Their corpses are littering Zaire as we speak.
It's around the world in 80 days. Suddenly it's like 18 something or other.
That's correct. Good times. Any last thoughts or feelings? Good Lord.
No, just gorillas in the cannonballing into the lava.
They were feeling depressed. So there you have it. Shall
They're
we go
like the
behind the
party's
scenes?
over. The party's over. Behind the scenes, half the cast I saw was monkey number 2.
Yes. Well, they had to. there are extended scenes where a lot of the gorilla, because it's obviously dudes in monkey suits, in ape
And
suits,
dudettes.
and dudettes, um, and it's all of these special effects because they couldn't use CGI at this stage of the game because they couldn't make the hair look natural. So they had to go kind of old fashioned on this. But it's all based upon the lighting that is used to kind of sell the realism of these creatures. And because in the caves, they're all just red walls. Basically, there's an extended scene where the monkeys are attacking, and they had to do kind of jump cuts, kind of slow motion, where it's like, we
So you
cannot
don't
let
see
you
the
get a good
zippers.
look at these.
Yeah, we
We don't
cannot.
want
It
you
needs
to
to.
see.
And honestly, that would have been better if they were just lightning fast, stole your lips, and kept running.
I just kept running. Very upsetting.
I wanted more Nope grade 8 scenes.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna run by, bite your finger like a pretzel, and
Wave.
away I go. Wave,
Away.
laugh at you, like it's a Groucho Marx cigar, but it's your finger.
Groucho Marx. Okay, behind the scenes, Ernie
Yes.
Hudson has said that playing the character Captain Monroe Kelly is his personal favorite of his career.
It was good. They let him actually be a character instead of just like the black guy who has no lines.
Right. Kahega. Poor Kahega, the friendly
How about Ghostbusters?
Winston okay, we could talk about Ghostbusters. Let me tell you this. Originally, Ghostbusters was meant to star Eddie Murphy as Winston.
I bet Eddie Murphy would have had some lines.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. So Eddie Murphy, they were all set to lines were written for Eddie Murphy, and he had to pass for some reason. I think he had a conflict. There was some other movie he was doing. So then they hire, instead of comedian Eddie Murphy, they hire professional actor Ernie Hudson. And Ernie Hudson's like, look at all these great lines I got. Next day, they give him the new script. Gone. They took away basically all of his funny lines, gave them to other people, and he was just, they gave him like, I've seen shit that'll turn you white, and that's about it.
Just some uncomfortably racist shit. Yeah,
Just
that's awesome.
Poor Winston. Poor Winston.
Poor Winston. He was robbed. Yeah, I read that has forever affected him.
I believe it. Absolutely. Now, God bless him. He's on Grace and Frankie. I mean, he's still doing his thing. Do you ever watch Grace and Frankie?
What am I, 100? Do you follow that up with a dose of the Golden Girls too?
We're going to watch 80 for Brady after this. The diamonds were actually called Herkimer diamonds, but they were not diamonds. They're quartz crystals. But they're not like glass. I mean, they're real crystals. And there's a scene at the end of the movie where Laura Linney takes.
Is it the crystal from Warlock?
It's the dark crystal, and she takes it and literally just throws it into the jungle, and they lost that crystal forever. They were never able to retrieve it.
What are you saying? That was not part of the story?
No, evidently they hoped to retrieve it at one point, but they were unable to find it.
My God. Well, they borrowed it from Harry Winston Jewelers or whatever that. Oh, sorry.
It was K Jewelers. Every kiss
K
Jewelers. Absolutely. Yeah, I've given you a lot of this information. Dylan Walsh played Dr. Peter Elliott, where the real Peter Elliott is a gorilla choreographer and an ape performer in many movies, including this one. So there you go.
A gorilla choreographer.
Well, they train the actors, the movement actors, to move like crazy mangy gorillas. What? No?
See, that's the problem with Planet of the Apes. I really think they should have looked slightly less gorilla-like and should have moved more humanly. I think that would have been much creepier.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. Okay, well, the book is different in a lot of interesting ways from the movie, and
Are you going to
the
nominate
writers,
that for book club?
maybe I will.
Maybe I will.
They say that the guy who wrote the script never read the book. He was just like, we know.
I saw the cover.
I know there's crazy killer monkeys in the jungle. That's all I need to know. I'll just wing it the rest. So number one, the character that Tim Curry plays, Herkimer Hermolka, is not in the book at all. And the whole story it's about the telecommunications. They're all working together to get there, and they're under a time constraint because I guess like Chinese and German firms are also trying to get there in time to get the diamonds and blah 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 blah. And how the talking gorilla in the climax of the book is able to communicate with the scary gorillas and kind of tell them, oh, this is a scary place.
How would they have any common language?
Because they're gorillas, okay? They're gorillas.
But it's a gorilla raised by humans. So they have, the thing would be, if you snatch a 2-year-old and raised it with apes, would you then be able to drop it in and talk to the United States Army
that's correct.
of monkeys?
I think we can agree on that. And the character of Monroe was supposed to be a Alan Quatermain type, and they envisioned it being played by none other than Sean Connery. Boom.
So that's why he's British/Scottish.
That's exactly right. So now years later, because again they optioned, he came up with the idea and optioned the script, which he hadn't written yet. So he wrote that, and then the movie got delayed so far that he was able to actually write the book. Michael Crichton is who I'm talking about. He wrote the book and it became a bestseller, and it wasn't until, 15 years later, a totally unrelated script was used, as you can tell.
Unrelated to anything.
Unrelated to anything. Very upsetting.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Shall we talk about the cast and crew?
Yeah, let's. Although I thought we just did.
We did a little bit. Frank Marshall is the director. He was a producing partner of Steven Spielberg throughout the 80s.
Is he related to the other Marshalls?
No, unrelated. But he was a producer on Raiders of the Lost Ark, producer on Signs, producer on Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
I never saw that bullshit.
Oh, very upsetting.
I'm button free.
The writers, as I said, based upon the novel by Michael Crichton. The screenplay was written
loosely based.
Very loosely based. The screenplay was written by John Patrick Shanley. You know him because he wrote Moonstruck. He wrote the play Doubt. Congo.
Oh, that's the one about the priest.
That's right. Joe versus the volcano.
Okay, now I see a pattern.
Right. He's
Moonstruck is amazing, and Doubt was good, but it was dark.
It's kind of like.
And then I wrote Joe versus the volcano in Congo. Right. I think maybe he's bipolar.
When he does kind of like Broadway type plays, then you're on the money. When it's just kind of, write me a check, then you get things like Congo, I'm sad to say.
But, sometimes you got to upgrade your kitchen. I don't know. Your roof leaks.
No question. Laura Linney played Dr. Karen Ross. You know her from The Big C, Savages, Kinsey, You Can Count on Me. More recently, she's on Ozark.
I literally know who she is, but have not seen anything that you mentioned.
She was in The Truman Show. Did you ever see that?
She was in Love Actually.
She was in Love Actually.
I didn't see The Truman Show, although they filmed at my college town.
There you go. Dylan Walsh played Dr. Peter Elliott. You know him from Congo. Mm-hmm. He was in the 2009 version of The Stepfather. He was famously on Nip Tuck.
That's right! That's it! I knew! And he was the worst of the two.
He's either Nip or Tuck. Is that correct?
No, because the other dude He was super dark and sexy. And his father was the Prime Minister of Australia.
Julian.
That's where I knew him from.
I was at a training and somebody told me that I looked like the other guy from Nip Tuck. So there you go. I said, hope that's a compliment. Who's to say?
I'm not
Ernie
seeing
Hudson?
it. I'm sure they
We're
meant it
twins!
as I'm sure they meant it as a hard come on, but you might want to do a little Google there.
I had more hair back then.
Okay.
Ernie Hudson played Captain Monroe Kelly. You know him from Ghostbusters, Family Business, Ghostbusters 2, The Crow.
I've never seen The Crow.
It's good. It's good. Brandon Lee died filming it. So
Yes.
let's see. Tim Curry played Herkimer Hermolka. You know him from Congo.
Rocky Horror.
Congo is always the first one on the list. Clue, Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Three Musketeers. He played Cardinal Richelieu.
Yes, I remember that.
Let's see. Joe.
All I will tell you about Tim Curry, besides the fact that I was in line with him at Jensen's in Palm Springs and didn't notice him, and our sisters didn't tell me because they thought I would cause a scene. He was driving a Jaguar, though. I did see him pull out. His greatest thing is the role of Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, we said that.
110%. He was even on Roseanne, dude. He was on
Tim
Roseanne.
Curry?
Tim Curry played, what's that comedian who was the female comedian who was in King of Comedy? Real thin, New York accent. She does a lot of acting. She was just in one of the movies we saw with the psychic. Oh no, never mind. She's in, I'm getting confused. She's in Yellow Jackets. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay, this means nothing to me.
Anyway, I forgot where I was going. So continue on.
Shall we talk about
it was going somewhere. It was going somewhere.
Just like the plot of Congo? Is that what you're suggesting?
The plot of Congo and that story just drove off the cliff.
Congo! Let's talk about the rating. It currently has 20% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
For once, Rotten Tomatoes may be correct.
Do you know what the audience gave it?
15%.
29% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's look at the top critics, shall we?
Shall we?
Let's see. Janet Maslin of the New York Times. This glib, overheated film about vicious primates delivers little suspense. ...
Is it glib, though?
Very glib. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times says, a splendid example of a genre no longer much in fashion. The Jungle Adventure Story, 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4?
3 out of 4!
What the hell?
That's how we do.
Jesus Christ. You know why the Jungle Adventure went out of fashion? Because there's always a bunch of white guys being bad to people of color. It never quite works out. Yeah.
They showed the native people, what are they called? The ghost people of the forest. I don't remember what they called them in this movie. They were shown as full, having personalities, and they were not savages. So I appreciate that, they showed good things about the people of Africa. So there you go. No, not so much.
Yeah. It's still all funky like the monkey. Funky like the monkey. I am going to give it 2 out of 5 monkeys not eating your lips. Sadly.
Good. That's a good. Okay. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 mangy gorillas doing cannonballs into lava. What do you think about that? I think it's more fun than you think it is. I think it's not great, clearly.
And it's not sustained fun. It's all these, as I said, you flatlined, and then every so often you get this boop, boop, boop.
get a
Ernie,
little right.
Lenny says something funny, boop boop, and then it goes flatline. Oh, Ernie Hudson has a cool accent, boop, and then that's just straight to hell. That's what it is.
You're going straight to hell, is what I think.
Say that to the tiny baby if it's alive. Ah,
Terrifying. Truly terrifying. So, good times. Thank you very much. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Go to our page on Facebook at the podcast that wouldn't die. Aaron, are we on? Oh, what the sweet Jesus? Are we on Instagram?
we are on the Grambo. We are the podcast that wouldn't die. We are on the Ticker Talker. We are the podcast that wouldn't die. We're on Facebook. We're on the Twitter. I mean, I don't know why I still get alerts that Elon Musk has tweeted something when I'm not even following him, but there you have it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You can email us at the podcast that wouldn't die at
Gmail.
We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, and rate, if you will. Aaron, are you on social media?
I am, but what's going on with your throat? You're all raspy and garbly. Is that the vid? What is that?
Could be a little bit of the vid.
Tuberculosis? What is that? Do you need to go to the sanitarium in the Congo?
That's correct.
Just a light case of the consumption. I am on much media. On the gram, I am the Cult of Aaron. Join the cult. I am also Don't Feed the Pigeon for some outdated pigeon pictures. And by pigeon pictures, I mean me dressed as a pigeon. I am... No, I'm not there. I'm on the Twitter, Queen Aaron. And if you want to buy some of my Polaroid and instant film goody goodness, I'm on Artsy, Aaron Doherty. I'm on First Dibs, Aaron Doherty. You see, I almost said Dean Koontz, but you'll see like a Picasso, but then push that aside, type in Aaron Doherty, and then you'll see my art. It's much cheaper.
Beautiful. Now, we're filming this video. So this may be popping up, on YouTube. Who's to say? We're experimenting, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see.
Hey, pretty good. Neither one of us has dropped yet. None of your children have entered the room and come up to whisper to you while we're talking.
That is true.
Your wife is not making announcements through the Alexa through the house. So we might be able to do this in one cut.
We're playing with house money, honestly. Good times. So, next week, we're going to be discussing the horror new classic, Session 9. This was Aaron's choice. Now, I saw this on a bunch of lists as a terrifying movie. I've never seen it before.
Never seen it before either.
You can watch it on Apple TV. You can watch it on Amazon Prime, but you are going to have to pay a little something extra. This isn't on the free deal. So
after the great Pluto situation of 90, I would have been down to see Picard, but since it was advertised so many effing times that I will personally pluck the eyes out of Picard, and I love him.
You will personally pluck the eyes out of... Okay, moving on.
If the eye offends thee, pluck it out.
As X, the man with the X-ray eyes, often said. The other quote from
we need to get some shirts or something from that shit.
You're telling me. The other famous quote from that movie is when X, the man with the X-ray eyes, says, "I believe the children are our future. If I believe,
treat them well and let them lead the way."
So send any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions, and we may talk about it on the show. So good.
Tune in next week when Kevin apologizes for mocking me for the Laura Lindley.
for Laura Lindley, whoever that is. So thank you very much, and be well.
Goodbye.